Observation at Riverside is a pretty strong practice. The observation of each other's practice is really to build not only accountability but also to kind of understand that another pair of eyes allows my practice to get richer and more meaningful. What we do is that at the end of every month we look at the observations and look at what patterns are emerging. Is the intentionality again of the fact that we want every session to be rich with meaning? Should every session have relevance at the core of its practice? Should every session have the adequate amount of rigor? And should the sessions be designed so that relationships are built, right? That's really why a session is designed. So at the end of every month, when we were doing our patterns and when we would go and see the observations, we started realizing while there was so much rich practice happening, the one gap that continued to surface was the gap in the articulation of the relevance. Right? And in the explicit articulation. So while it was there in the planning, it was not always explicitly articulated. So that kind of got us thinking, how do you make it more explicit? How do you make it intentional that every session would have those ingredients up front and center? So that not only will the teacher be able to understand that are the pieces that should not get missed, those are non-negotiables as it were, and the children also or the students are able to understand that that's the purpose. So it's not just a topic I'm learning, but it's towards a higher relevance about the application or objectives. So we said, how do you do this? How do you make this happen so that every class is rich with these ingredients? Ta-da! Right in front of us was the answer, the board. The board is the common denominator for all practice. Your personality, your expertise is all the bonus. But the board is the low-hanging threshold that everything can be taken care of. So we said, what if we could design the board to allow for sections to be created in such a manner that by default you had to anyway fill up the parts so that all the wonderful thing that you planned for actually gets explicitly articulated and designed for. It was as simple as that. So we quickly prototyped it a couple of years ago, and we realized, my God, it was starting to make our practice that much richer, that the children were now looking forward to not just accepting a topic, but demanding relevance, which is exactly what a learning should be like. It should be a kind of a back and forth. And suddenly the board gave us so many things we could do. We could work on the rigor. I mean, there was a space specifically aligned for your vocabulary that would come up or that was designed for. That when children added value to a class, you could honor them and account for that moment. The relevance was very up center, so that it was a great way to constantly close the loop and to keep referring back that we're learning all of this but towards a higher purpose. It was fantastic, and it takes all of like 2 minutes to kind of craft out and design, and it's a 2 minutes at the end to close the loop. So it is a wonderful bookending of a great session.